Nightwing, issue 129, legacy number 316. Dan Waters writing with. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, it's
Dan. Yeah, why am I doubting that? Dan Waters? Yeah, it's Dan Waters.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Dan Waters.
I would see you more doubting the art team, because art changes more than the writers.
But sure. I mean, there's Dexter Soy on art for this issue as usual, but it just for some reason in my head I went, no, he does Batman Dark Patterns, he doesn't do Nightwing, and I'm like, no, he does this too. For some reason my mind just went weird. So yeah, this kind of wraps up the whole Nightmite cancerous thing around the tower arc. By the end, although parts of it are left for future exploration, because the big thing by the end of this is that Nightwing Prime, meaning the Nightwing from Krypton that showed up in here, which I think was something that was in the last issue that I wasn't here for the review, but
yes,
that showed up, of course, and then he sort of turned out villainous by the end and locked Nightwing in the Thing, and Haley turned into a big, basically the dog from the Thing, is how I would describe it, and this issue has Nightwing calm down Haley, and Haley ends up helping Nightwing, and because it's actually Oracle who ends up saving the day, Barbara kind of basically soothes Nightmite by kind of describing what's going on and comparing Nightwing to chicken soup, and it's a whole thing, which we'll get into. But the big thing at the end is that Nightwing Prime turns out to be the kid from the Teddy Bear gang that snuck into the tower right before all this happened. And because he effectively has Superman powers, because he's technically Kryptonian now, he leaves and doesn't go away when Nightmite does. He's still out there, and he's like, I'm going to be a better Nightwing than Nightwing. So that we kind of leave off with this, like not evil Nightwing. I think this kid can definitely be talked down. I don't think unless it goes super tragic, I think Nightwing can break through to him and kind of convince him to do the right thing eventually. But I definitely think we're going to get almost like Superman on Red Kryptonite. We're going to get an angsty, I know better than you Nightwing, who's going to use his powers to enforce things and whatnot. So it's an interesting place it's left us off in.
It's weirdly like Nightwing's Superboy-Prime.
Kinda,
right? Because he has this idea of what Nightwing should be, right? Because he was with the Teddies, and Nightwing gave him a sense of purpose that he was looking for, and now he has the powers of a god because of Nightmite, and how's he going to react, right? But he's still got a kid's mind. He has this very black and white view of good and bad, and if Nightwing wasn't going to do what he wanted to him, he needed to keep him locked up there. So definitely a wrinkle I was not expecting, with everything with the dark the clown guy. I'm forgetting his name right now with Olivia.
It's the Cirque du Sin, the clown,
Cirque du Sin,
the character himself. Oh God, you're testing me here. I've forgotten. When they bring him up again, I'll know exactly who it is. But it's
yes. But anyways, added a whole new wrinkle to that, and the idea that this is
the Zani
part. The Zani. There you go.
And took me a second.
And now there's now there's someone that is playing the part of a Nightwing involved with this. So and just the whole idea of Nightwing being this comfort for Nightmite. And the way that Barbara tells the story of how when Dick was Robin, he couldn't go out on a patrol because he was sick with a cold. So Alfred made him this chicken soup, and that's his comfort. That's what he goes to in times of he needing comforting. So there's all these different layers of what Nightwing means to people and what means that to Nightwing that I really appreciated.
Yeah, I all the stuff with Haley was sweet because Haley was kind of talking, which is interesting in its own way. But I do kind of like that we don't know it's Barbara narrating for a lot of the issue, because Nightwing ends up having to fight Nightwing Prime for a little bit. Not that it goes very well because he's got super strength.
Right.
But, ultimately, we go to this story about Alfred, which is really sweet. And, just like Taylor before in the last run, pulling on the Alfred heartstrings is always a good way to make things, hit really hard, really quick. But, it's a reveal 2/3 through the issue that Barbara's the one telling the story. It kind of conceals that for most of it, intentionally. There's a slight green border around the narration boxes, but it's not enough to be like, oh, that's an Oracle box. It's very much neutral so that you don't know who's speaking, for most of the issue.
Right.
And then you get to her, and she's holding a bowl, and she's basically describing Nightwing as the, as the comfort, as the chicken soup for Nightmite. And as soon as like she kind of like convinces Nightmite of this and say, "Do you understand?" He just basically melts away and shrinks down into the bowl that she's holding. So Nightmite's like this little parasite-looking thing in the bowl, and everything else melts away. It's almost like Clayface is melting around everywhere, right? And Nightwing Prime, the kid, is like, "Oh no, you're destroying my life. I hate this. Like, I can't give this up. I can't go back to being a kid named Bryce. I'm flying off." So yeah, he flies off up into the atmosphere. Haley's back to normal. Olivia, when they get outside, is like, "Hey, Nightwing, come and tell the press how our fancy suit that helped you save the day." Is like, "I will not. You can have this back. I'm not giving you a soundbite. I'm having none of this." And he throws it on the ground. There's also a sweet moment as well when Nightwing comes up to see Babs, and she's just like talking about what's going on, and he runs up and kisses her. I kind of like that because she's not even like, because she never really felt like she was in danger. She was just like solving the problem. And he even says, "Hey, did I rescue you?" And she's like, "No, of course you didn't, but I appreciate that you were trying to."
Thanks for trying. I love their relationship.
Yeah, it
feels genuine, and between Taylor and now Waters, you feel like they have the same view of the Nightwing and Babs, well, Dick and Babs relationship, and I'm glad that it's been consistent. But yeah, she's way better than him, and he's lucky, that she gives him the time of day.
She's certainly smarter than him. I think that's a fair statement to say.
Yeah. But yeah, just the fact that did I save you? I'd love that.
No, it's good stuff. Really digging it. And then obviously, the last few pages are Superboy, or see what I said there? Nightwing Prime. Is like hovering above Earth and being like, "Oh, it's, I'm not going back to who I was." And the final page is this gorgeous full page spread of Nightwing in silhouette, but with the blue still coming out. And then up in the sky in front of the moon, you see Nightwing Prime floating in front of it. And it's just this great thing of been like, okay, I'm going to go be a better Nightwing, whether Nightwing likes it or not. So it leaves us off in this place. And it's another interesting, like, when this stuff started happening, right, a few issues ago, with okay, we're doing this weird thing where it turned out to be Nightmite, but we didn't really know what it was at first. Where, okay, the Terror Titans towers turned weird, and there's like some extra dimensional stuff happening inside, and it was like, okay, this feels like a bit of a pivot from the story, like that we've been doing with Olivia and Spheric and Nazani. But it was like a fun diversion. But now we've come out of it, and I feel like the stuff that it's set up, separate from the other stuff, is just as interesting as all the stuff we were doing beforehand. So now, like, this run has got several threads that I'm into. I'm into the Zani stuff because it's super like ethereal and like, what do they want Nightwing for? And then an extension of that is the Olivia and Spheric stuff. And now we've got, this Nightwing Prime being this threat that I'll probably feed into some of that other stuff at some point down the line, but it feels relatively separate right now. I love that there's multiple gears moving that all feel like they're part of the world right now with this run.
Yeah.
So I'm digging it. And the art from Soy is gorgeous. All the stuff with Haley being a monster dog looks phenomenal. Well,
and then even all the normal stuff with the chicken soup. That page with when Dick's a kid with Alfred, and Alfred's making the soup, and you have extra dimensional stuff going on in pages before and after. But Dexter Soy still really nails just, Alfred in the kitchen making soup for the sick kid. And it's with some shadows and all that. So just across the board, Soy's really handling things.
Yep. Alfred wraps his arms around Dick.
Yep. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to add to the,
You got a smirk in your face, Matt. It looks like you want to say something.
I don't want to say it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm making the choice.
I might have been baiting you, and you maybe resisted the urge. So congratulations. But that's Nightwing 129. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give this. Been handling a lot of 8.5s, and then I'll give this one another one. This is 8.5.
Yeah, I think it's in that range. I might go with the 8. Because I like a lot of this issue. Maybe the chicken soup metaphors maybe a little bit too leaned on thick early on, but I did like the reunion with Dick and Babs. I loved where we leave this Nightwing Prime stuff up. Like, I think I like what this little mini arc set up more than I necessarily liked the actual like ongoings of it. Like, it was fun enough, but it did feel like more of a bit of a romp versus like all the cool stuff that it's been doing in the ongoing story before. And you know, because the annual was great, because the annual was like this like cool like follow up to the rest of the world of Nightwing. So. But yeah, still really good though. Still a solid, great book, gorgeous art, lots of great moments. So 8 out of 10 for Nightwing, good stuff.